Good evening, race fans. Welcome to the Core Racing Network. Tonight we got round number 6 from a track that hasn't really been touched in quite some time, and certainly at least on CRN here, as we are over in the UK at Donington Park. And this is a very unique track. You see it right here. Kind of got maybe, you know, a little VIR feel just from the UK side of it. Just with a lot of grass on each side, and almost kind of seems like you're driving through the countryside here. But this is going to be a fun little test for these drivers out here tonight, and certainly one that I'm sure these drivers haven't had too much of a taste of. Even though it's not like it's a newer track on iRacing, just doesn't really get touched too much. Corland, we're joined in the booth by Jimmy Covert. Jimmy, Donington Park, I know you haven't had that much experience on it, but what do you think so far?
Well, I did get a chance to go out there and get a couple laps in to see what the drivers were going to deal with here tonight, and it's a lot of fun. But there's some corners that you think you can carry more speed than and find yourself out in the grass, and there's other corners where you think you need to be slower and you should be faster. So the drivers that masters those sections of the course, I think you're going to see the ones out front. And looking at some of the practice times, are your typical pro drivers up front, and along with newcomer, what's his name? Before I forget, Doug Palmer was up there as well. So a lot of good times, and I think the drivers are going to have a lot of fun tonight, but they're going to have to pick and choose where they want to pass. Also, the other unique thing about this track is the pit stop. Instead of usually coming in to the right-hand side, it's off to the left. So hopefully the drivers will practice that just a little bit, because it is a pretty short pit entry, so it does make it a little bit difficult. But it should be a lot of fun. Just like I said, there's some challenges out there for the drivers here tonight.
Yeah, certainly a little chicane that leads into the final two corners, but they're not to be messed with. They're two of the tightest hairpins that you're going to see on the schedule, and really on any schedule. And on the inside of one of those schedules is where the pit lane entry is. So, I mean, it's definitely quite a few areas that you can make some passing opportunities here. You see a decent amount of straightaways here, but really, I mean, this track kind of comes at you with the undulations. You see it right there, looking back up the hill. I mean, really from turn number 1, you're kind of turning down the hill and starting to go down kind of through the valley there, and it's just back and forth, and you back up the hill. It's it just comes at you kind of left and right here.
Yeah, it like I said, it's unique. So it's, if you don't have a lot of time on the track, it can be difficult. I don't think many drivers are driving with the racing light on. Obviously, you want it as realistic as possible, and these tracks don't paint green and red lines to kind of give you suggestions where to be. So drivers are out there doing the best they can, and it's like I said, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a good 45 minutes for these drivers. They're winding up their qualifying now with this open qualifying that they got going on right now. It does look like Craig Jancic is up on top with a 127.1. I think during practice I was seeing some 126s. So best I could do with very, very limited time on this track, maybe some practice kind of just to see what it was like, and tonight just for a few minutes I was only down into the 128s, so not too bad, but not really great either. So we'll see how these drivers fare. Like I said, it's going to be tricky to keep focus on some of these very unique parts of the track.
That's exactly why you're up here in the booth with me and letting these drivers get to it down here. But yeah, I mean, the good thing about this track is unless you make a major mistake, there's plenty of runoff on both sides of the track that you should be able to keep it out of the walls, should be able to keep it out of the tire barriers. The kitty litter hopefully will slow you down if you need to. Really the only, I guess, troublesome spots if you blow through turn 1, or even the final corner, the hairpin there, if you miss the braking or something like that, you can get into some trouble. But other than that, should be able to keep the car relatively clean and get it back on the track. But take a look at the point standings here real quick heading into tonight's race. And in the pro class, it is Chris Hamilton on top of the boards by a mere 1 point over Craig Jancic. And then you got to go back a decent amount till you get to Colin Winslow, Devin Young, both tied for 3rd place. And then Leo Gausha rounding out the top 5. But Devin Young, you certainly got to take a look at him. He seems to be, hitting his stride a little bit these last couple races, and certainly made up some ground last week. So we'll see if he can keep that run going here at Donington. Over in the AM class, Eli Singh not here last week, but he still keeps his points lead at 208 to Christian Ortiz Torres is at 200 in second place, Glenn Lazan in third, and then Jim Herrick, Randall Ayers are going to round out your top 5 as they're both tied for 4th place. But looks like we are just about finished up with qualifying here, just giving them the final minutes to finish up their lap times here. But another good solid field out here. Looks like we got 28 registered. Haven't seen Cesar Colon Torres out there on track yet, so not sure if he's going to be showing up late, maybe not qualifying, or if we're just going to have 27 in the field. But either way, another good showing here for CSRL, the Casual Sim Racers League, and want to send a shout out and thanks to the series sponsors. As always, we got 40 Racewear, and we'll be keeping an eye on Jim Herrick from a distance, because it seems like anytime we put him on camera, it's a little rough for him. But Simcraft,
send us any 40 Simwear yet?
is that what it is?
Just saying.
Simcraft, and then Martin PC as well for jumping on board with these boys over here at CSRL. But just waiting for these final minutes to click off before we head down to the action. But you're taking a look at the overhead shot right there, and that is on the right hand side. That is the tricky little chicane that comes down towards the bottom of your screen, heads you down to the first hairpin, and then kind of right in the middle of your screen there, that hairpin going around. You'll be going around to the left. That is the final corner of this track, and that's where it can get a little bit tricky. And you can certainly see some last minute passes.
I probably butchered the name, but that is turn 12, the last corner, and they have it labeled as Godards. So I don't know if it's just they want to say other things going in that corner, but I definitely found myself going way too fast. Obviously, the little chicane there, that's labeled the S's, and obviously the other hairpin that we talked about that was in between Godards and the S's as the Melbourne. So. Yeah, definitely. I got a track map up with some names on it here tonight, so maybe be able to call them out just a little bit here and there. But I think out of all these ones, I think one that's going to be very unique is one after they come through one or Redgate, down they come through like some kind of like a curvy part of the road. They call it the Craner Curves, and then they take a right-hand turn called the Old Hairpin. And you can carry so much speed through there, or you think you can, and you end up going really wide, and you end up in the grass. And I think we're going to see a few individuals going a little bit off track there. So I wouldn't be surprised if SDK gives you some warnings there tonight, Carl.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we are done with qualifying here, and the grid is getting ready and getting set up right now. So, Jimmy, why don't you give us a rundown of tonight's starting order?
Yeah, rundown of tonight's starting order is going to be... looks like Craig Jancic on the pole here tonight over Christopher Hamilton, then Doug Palmer, and then Anthony Jenkins, Bryce Rayner, Devon Young, Sheik Ali, Colin Winslow, Christian Torres, and Nicholas Code for your top 10. Then you have Christian Ortiz Torres in, excuse me, I back red. And 11th is going to be Tyler Torville. And 12th would be Frank Pisano, Herbert Pineda back there in P13, Jim Herrickson 14th. Eli Singh for your points leader for the AM class, sitting back there in P15. Dan Marrera back there in 16th. Renan Dilemma in there in 17th. Dave Jensen in 18th. Todd Terville in 19th. Randy Ayers and back there in 20th. Glenn Lawson in 21st. Stefan Price in 22nd. William Burrell back there in 23rd. Jay Little, Ian Wilson, Cesar Torres, Doug Bailey. And I see Doug Palmer still in the back, so...
It looks like I think he towed to the pits. Not sure what the issues there were.
It looks like he's sitting P3 overall as far as time goes, but maybe Doug finding himself in the back.
Yeah, it looks like he maybe starting from the pit lane. We do get to see that new pace car once again. We got the BMW pace car out there again. I did want to point that out. So it was.
I think Craig likes the new BMW.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, he's going to have his eyes full here, heading to the start finish line again, starting on the pole here tonight. But Chris Hamilton, the points leader and his biggest competition here this season, right there alongside of him, as they will come out of the final chicane here, and we will get the green flag here at Donington Park. Round number 6 underway. A little bit of a tricky start. Most of these drivers are probably going to be heading through that hairpin as as they kind of take that green flag, but out to a nice easy lead there is Craig Jancic as they head down towards Old Hairpin, down the hill here. You see snaking back and forth before you head off into that right-hander, Old Hairpin right here, which, again, as we said, Jimmy, as we got one car sliding off, I think it was Nicholas Cote getting shot off there. It's not really a hairpin, it's a right-hand corner. So I don't know why.
They call it the old hairpin.
I get maybe it was a hairpin at some point, but head up through McLean's here. And then I'm sure I'm going to butcher some of these names too. Copese up here, and this is kind of a section right here that we talked about. First of a double right-handed corner, but you can carry so much speed out of here into that second part of the right-hand corner that you don't take it for granted sometimes. But coming into Fogarty S's right here for the first time, you can take a decent amount of those curves, and you see those iRacing posts right there are not moving. You can just drive right through that, and then heading into the Melbourne chicane, or the Melbourne hairpin for the first time before you head into the final hairpin and complete the lap here at Donington Park. And looks like for the most part everybody survived except for a couple that went off track here. We'll take a look back here and see what happened, and maybe a little help right there, because that's Glenn Lazan actually getting sent off into the barriers pretty hard. It looks like he got a little help from behind, but the Corvette looks like it's still in pretty good shape. I mean, it's a pretty forgiving tire barrier, I guess. And then the other one here, Nicholas Cote, is going a little bit wide here, getting back on track. Looks like nothing too bad there, just a little off track and back on there. But we'll head back live to our leaders, and it is Craig Jancic out in the lead, Chris Hamilton, Bryce Reiner, Anthony Jenkins, and Devin Young for your top 5 in the Pro class. Christian Ortiz-Torres is your leader here in the M class in 8th place. And then all the way back in 13th, but 2nd place in the M class is Eli Singh, Brendan DeLima, Jim Herrick, and Todd Torville rounding out the M top 5.
And obviously we'll get a chance tonight. We'll ride on board with one of these drivers, and you'll be able to see like what they have to go through, and like the blind corner. So they're gonna know what they've been doing here tonight. After some repetition and following somebody makes it a little bit easier. So obviously the leader needs to know this track by the back of their hand, because like I said, there's a few parts that can be a little bit tricky, and it's what makes Mel got ours so difficult is it is a blind left, because it kind of goes, you come out of Melbourne and you kind of go up a hill and it like crests and turn to the left and it's sharp. So it's there, it's just doing it a bunch of times so you feel comfortable with it. But yeah, it's definitely a blind hairpin, and it really will take you by surprise if you're not ready.
So far so good, as looks like for the most part these drivers have made it through. You see the 69 there, Glenn Lazan towards the back of the pack. Doug Palmer did start from pit lane, but he is out there on the track and already picking up a few positions, trying to move that 12 up through the field. He certainly had the pace in both practice and qualifying, so we'll see how quickly he can move through his M-class competitors. But already talks that he may get the boot up and get some move up here after this race, whether he wants to or not. But here's some tire screeching behind him. Jay Little just working on his drifting skills here a little bit in the back of the pack, but no harm, no foul there.
That double right-hander, you think you need to be slower than what you can actually take it, and that's what the lockup was in the drifting. Obviously a little farther brake bias, I'm sure, for Little as he works his way around that corner. But yeah, that tricky number 8 definitely can be tricky.
Well, this was a pass for the lead as Craig Jansen goes a little bit wide coming down the hill, and Chris Hamilton says thank you very much. We'll take a look at that pass here one more time and show you from Craig Jansen here off into the grass. Big old wiggle right there in the Acura, but a great save by the number 88. Keeps himself in 2nd place behind Chris Hamilton, but that was a big brown pants moment for sure for the 88. And an incident here back towards the middle of the back here with Todd Torville. Let's see what happened here. It might have just been a lockup. No, little bit of a bump there. And he gets spun around here, and Goddard's the final hairpin there. Gets it back going here.
Looked like somebody was going for a move on him on the inside, ended up catching him, sending him around. So just a tough break off. So he sat there on track, allowed everybody to go by. Probably unaware that he had a little bit of space behind him. Could have probably backed that thing up and got out a little bit quicker. But you know, it's always good to see the drivers wait until the coast is clear, basically, before they pull out on the track.
Well, Jimmy, we'll hop on board here with Craig Jancic for a lap around Donington Park. Why don't you give us a little lap around the track with Craig?
All right, so they're coming down. This is the front straightaway right here, heading down to turn 1, or known as Red Gate. Obviously, you're going to go off to the left here and carry as much speed. Brake a little bit, hit the apex here, get back on the throttle, and down away they go, down towards turn number 2. It's a downhill, kind of a left and right. You can see the apexes are kind of blind until you're like right up on top of them. This here is the old hairpin where Craig lost the last time I got it in the grass. You can see how they track out wide on that dirt. And then back up through here to the Starkey's Bridge. Up through here, this is a lot faster than you think you can take it here. You're braking here. You need to slow the car down, get into the apex. Again, run that car wide off in the dirt. And you go up the hill here into Copus, and this is where you think you need to be slower and actually carry more speed than you need to. This nice straightaway here. This works your way down to the S's. If you get a good run through Copus, you can get a good passing opportunity here. But down to the S's, you're going to break through. You're going to hit them apexes as tight as possible. Obviously, you can drive through those iRacing cones, no problem. Here's Melbourne hairpin. You see the big black sign there on the right-hand side. It'll give you a good opportunity to know where you're at. Hit that apex, easy on the throttle coming out. Now you're going up the hill here. You're going on the garter. This is the last hairpin. And like you said, you can't see it. You still can't see it. Still can't see it. It needs to turn. There's the apex, and it is tight. Obviously, it's a hairpin. And it just takes practice to know that it's there. It's and trusting your car is going to do what you want it to do. So it's very blind, but that's a lap around here. It's also those guys running here. They're running a minute 27 seconds so far around here. Chris Hamilton run the fastest lap of the race last time. Wow, the 127 just went 2-2.
Yeah, and I think that the biggest thing is those the last kind of sectors of this track. I mean, at the S's, a little bit deeper S's than normal. I mean, you look at say like a Monza or something like that. It's kind of a quick back and forth with the S's. Here, it just seems like that first left-hand turn. It's almost like a turn and then another turn to get out of there. It just seems like to me it's just a little bit longer of a little chicane right there. And then those hairpins. I mean, the hairpins are so tight. You're basically full lock on the steering wheel all the way to the right, and then same thing, almost full lock on the steering wheel all the way to the left. I mean, it's so slow and just kind of crawling through there. So it can be an absolute great passing opportunity if you can dive down late, get to that inside, just really force that car on the outside to make a decision on how they want to run that corner. As you see Craig just with the dummy heading into Melbourne here, the second last hairpin. But how about Bryce Reiner hanging right with these boys? It's a 3-car breakaway here at the front. They got about 2.5 seconds in between them and Anthony Jenkins. And then right behind Jenkins is Devin Young, and the rest of the field are chasing him, as that is your top 5 overall and in the Pro class. And then once you get down in the AM class, it is Christian Ortiz Torres up to 9th place right now. And then Renny de Lima is in 2nd place, having overtaken Eli Singh in 3rd. Jim Herrick and Dave Jensen are your top 5 in the AM class. We did have a bit of an issue here for Randy Ayers. We'll take a look back here. And this is heading into the final hairpin here. And it's showing that he crashed and he ended up jumping into the pits. So I'm not sure what happened here to the 66, but he had to park it and then towed into the pits. So the 66 having some issues here tonight one way or another. You can see him blinking out there before he can get back into the pits. But back up here to the front, it is Chris Hamilton by a mere 0.3 of a second over Craig Jancic. These two title contenders doing battle here once again in round 6.
It's not a bad thing if you can follow somebody that close for the entire race. Obviously, Chris constantly checking his mirror, where Craig's going to be, and if he's going to attack, is he going to follow? How long is he going to follow him? Is he just saving his tires and setting them up? Or is he looking at every single corner? There is better outpaced passing opportunities. And it's not like Chris is slow, so Craig can just sit behind him and take care of his car. And as long as he's at that back bumper of Christopher Hamilton, he's got him in sights and ready to pounce. But we talked a little about that pit entry. You see him; they just passed it right now. So it is a very quick to the left. And I'd be curious to see if drivers are calling it out, and especially traveling, as close as they are to one another. A lot of battle on the fields, close racing here so far. Obviously, we're watching the leaders right now, 1 and 2. They're 2/10 apart, but back there in 5th place, you got Devin Young, who got his hands full with Winslow as well. So we got a lot of good racing all throughout the track, and look forward to as Carl skims the field and shows us what's out there here tonight.
Yeah, it's close. It's kind of hard to take my eyes off of this battle right here, as they were nose and tail literally right there, heading back up the hill now, and that little shot gives Hamilton a little bit of breathing room. But we'll take a look back here and show you some of the other battles. As you see, this is the top 3. But then back in 4th place is Anthony Jenkins, leading this little bit of a train right here with him, Devin Young, Colin Winslow, Sheik Ali, all right in line, and then just a little bit of a gap back to Nicholas Coe. Back a little bit further in the field, you got Jim Herrick right now, and I guess we'll show his teammate. They were right behind him. That way, Jim's technically not on the screen, even though he is. His name's not there. But Jim currently holding off Dan right now. So the AM holding off the Pro right now in 15th and 16th. And then a little bit further back in the field, you have Ian Wilson in the 58 in 22nd place, and Stefan Price right behind him in 23rd. But all in all, I mean, for these drivers not knowing this place maybe too well, either the practice paid off or either they got into practice by themselves. But one way or another, they're getting around this place, and it's not doing too much damage. I mean, we're not even really seeing guys, knock on wood, go off track that much. And here, it's certainly a place that you can easily go off track pretty quickly.
Yeah, definitely impressed the drivers maintain their vehicles on the course. Just seen a couple off tracks, obviously around the few key spots we talked about earlier. Obviously like Old Hairpin and McLean there at the top, that 7 that where they're at right now. That's turn 7 right here where they can really push that car to the edge, but staying on the rumble strips. So doing a fantastic job, and it's good to see drivers out there and just getting around, taking their time, being a little bit patient, I think, with each other too. I think being a little bit a rarer track does that. But a lot of times when you bring the rare tracks out, you get the best racing. And right now, we talked about Corey not having too many problems, but it looks like something happened with Colin Winslow.
Still in here, so maybe just kind of locked it up there. In a battle here, Sheik Ali sends us in the inside here in the final hairpin. And maybe getting the elbows out there a little bit, but gonna make the pass there to move himself up into 6th place.
Behind them.
Looks like Herbert Pineda spawning around sideways here. We'll take a look and see what happened. Is that was a quick backup across the track. Somehow he didn't get tagged. Somehow that little brush of the wall in the back didn't take out the rear spoiler there as well. But
the relative closing in and stopped on it. I mean, that car went shooting towards the wall, but no, it kept its spin. So, getting things going here, getting that 99. This is the issue.
And I wonder right there if that was, I was going to say maybe the 4 was looking ahead into the pits, but I think the 4 Bassano was just kind of keeping it to the inside there. They see I won't say a sketchy backup, but oof, that was a little scary for sure coming out of there. But either way, got it back going here. No damage other than losing a bunch of positions, a bunch of time. But we'll head back out here, and teammates looking to do a little battle here. Maybe Dan Morera getting a little feisty here, and just maybe keeping Jim Herrick in check here a little bit. Just let him know, like, hey, who's the pro driver, who's the AM driver on this team? And now it looks like Jim Herrick's like, all right, my bad, I'll let you go. So Dan Morera's going to move himself up into 14th.
Are you truly fighting that person? I mean, obviously you're fighting for an overall position, but you're not fighting for a position within the
grand scheme of things.
For his the bigger scheme of things. And sometimes that's, obviously I run the LMP2 and I run the in the silver field, because I think one, because of just the limited amount of drivers, so it takes forever to get your rating over that core. But you sit back there and you just somebody fast or somebody in another group comes up on you and maybe a little bit faster. I don't even bother battling with them. Just let them go. I'm like, oh, my fight's not with you, so you just let them go. So you just it's just safer, it's faster, it's cleaner, and I think some of the drivers, respect that. And then one day when you're that fast, then you're battling somebody. I mean, people remember. People definitely remember when it comes to how hard you race them.
Well, one thing for sure, Craig Jancic is all over the backside of Chris Hamilton. He's tapped him in the back a couple times here. He's shown a couple dummies here heading into some of these corners. He's trying to do everything he can to rattle the cage of the 20, but nothing so far. Craig has been doing everything he can, but Chris Hamilton has been steady, maybe a little bit deep there, a little bit wide in the final hairpin. So maybe a little chink in the armor there. And I'm starting to wonder here. We're third of the way through this race right now. Has Chris been, just kind of keeping those Porsche tires under control? Because we've heard it now a few times this season that the Porsche likes to eat through tires. Not sure how much Donington likes to chew up tires. It's obviously an older track out here. I don't think it's been paved anytime recently, at least in regards to the iRacing side of it when they scanned it. So it could be a tire eater for all we know, and that Porsche doesn't like to be too kind on tires. So I'm wondering if Chris was just maybe kind of holding back that pace a little bit and trying to hold back Craig in the interim there, just to keep these tires under him and last for an entire stint.
Yeah, Porsche, I like driving it. Not my go-to car normally, but it is fun to drive, and especially right out of the gates. It's always typically fast. It does very well. It does well in the rain as well. With the type of engine that's in the car, and a lot of drivers like it because of how nimble it is. And like I said, it starts off good. So if you get a good start and be able to maintain the tires, but you see Craig looking down to the inside here. This is down in Melbourne hairpin, so looking down now. Chris has got to battle back to that final hairpin.
Chris has got the inside here, so he will maintain the lead, and Craig will be following for another lap. And meanwhile, Bryce Reiner just reeling these guys right in, staying right with them. Took a little look there at the inside of Jansen, but going to hold back. Turn one, it can be a passing opportunity, but it's kind of a tricky corner, and I'm pretty sure it's a little bit off camber as well, heading towards the outside of the corner. So it can be tricky just getting through there by yourself, let alone trying to make a pass too wide. So it's not, to me, it's not a preferred passing corner. It can be done, but I certainly would look for a different opportunity and just follow for a little bit longer. But right now it is Hamilton, Jancic, Reiner, Young, and Jenkins for your top five in Pro Class and overall. And then your leader now in the M Class after Ortiz Torres comes into the pits, one of the first guys into the pits. Brennan Belima is your leader. Eli Singh, Jim Herrick, Doug Palmer, and Dave Jensen for your top five. So Palmer already worked his way up to overall 15th place, so that 12 is on the move.
Doug's got some serious speed, and obviously using it to his advantage right now, and working his way through the field. Maybe some beginning race issues with a PC, or I don't know, flat electricity on flat internet. Had to feed the hamster to get it going. I don't know, but either way, he's coming through the field. He's coming fast, and the drivers up front, I'm sure. Maybe Chris and Craig ain't too worried about him at the moment, but they definitely should be somebody to pay attention to future races, especially if he doesn't have any issues, as he does have that speed. So, but he's coming up through the field. I might guess at this rate here, Carl, so we're 20 minutes in. We're closing in on that halfway mark soonish. He might make it. He should make at least top 10, if not in the top 7.
Yeah, the rate he's going, doing well, making his way through the field. But obviously, the further you get up through the field, you will get to some faster cars. It's going to take you maybe an extra lap to make that pass. He's kind of stuck behind Jim Herrick right now, heading now down into another lap. And you got to be careful when you go to make these passes, because you're going through the middle of the field. It's the better drivers, you know, quote unquote, of the AM class, but you know, they're in the AM class for a reason. They're still, you know, kind of someone to learn the ropes here a little bit, trying to get a little bit faster. So you can't just make a crazy pass that you may be able to do on a pro driver, for instance. But right now, just kind of holding steady right now in 15th position, but we're getting close to those pit stops. We've seen already Christian Ortiz-Torres give up the AM class lead to come in, but we've got a battle once again here as Greg Jansen looked like to try to go to the outside there that time through Melbourne and denied once again. Now they head through the final hairpin once again, and it is still Hamilton at the line. But man, that Acura of Jansen is a little bit feisty, and I think Reiner has a little bit for them as well, but I don't think he wants to get in the middle of these guys right now. He's just letting them battle it out.
Yeah, if I'm Reiner, I'm just going to sit here and watch. I got 25 minutes to watch this, and one, it's pure enjoyment, and two, they could take each other out, and then I can be in the lead. So, yeah, if I'm Rice, I'm just hanging because I'm close enough to take over and let these two battle out. We know that obviously Chris Hamilton and Craig Jansen are going to try to battle as clean as possible. That is why it is taking Craig so long to try to get around Chris. It's because he's not sending it into a corner. What is he looking at?
Bit of a set right there, and yeah, looked like maybe a little bit of contact right there with Jancic. And now Reiner gonna give him a little shot to maybe help him out to get down to the chicane here. But yeah, a little bit looked like the 88 maybe drifted out just a little bit, made contact with the side of Hamilton. But he is certainly harrying the number 20 right now as they head down into Melbourne one more time. Jancic, a little bit of a dummy there to the inside. Not going to rattle the 20 just yet, but it seems like he's getting a little bit better drive out of these corners than that Porsche. Porsche looks like it's just struggling for a little bit of back-end grip heading out of some of these corners. As, I mean, Reiner's going to be back here just loving this and maybe doing the right move here. He is coming into the pits, getting out of the mix of this thing, and he's just going to let them battle out a little bit longer. But it is been all Chris Hamilton after the early mistake by Craig Jansen. He's been trying to rectify it since, but he has not been able to get around Hamilton so far. And looks like a couple drivers other than looks like Bryce Reiner in the pits, as we've seen Sheikha Lee in the pits as well, but just about coming up on halfway and just crossing halfway right now. So should be seeing these cars coming in the next couple laps.
And definitely a lot of drivers thinking about taking that pit entry here sooner than later, maybe stuck in a battle like this, side by side, with Anthony Jenkins and
Colin Winslow. Yeah, Colin Winslow getting around there, so Winslow up to 4th place right now.
Yeah, so if you're in a battle like this, sometimes coming into pits, banking on that you're going to have a better pit stop can work out to your benefit. Was it last week? Yeah, last week. I was in a race, and one of my league mates said I had it because he was just in front of me as pit stops were coming in, and he went in the lap before me. I stayed out. I came in, and then I left. I left the pit, so when I came out, he was behind me by 6 seconds. So it was a combination of two things that happened. One, I didn't have to take as much fuel, and two, he had a little worse pit stop than I did, so that was a disparity. It was over 6 seconds, but just like that, no battling on track, 6 seconds gain on track from a pit stop. So it can happen here, and this is what some of the drivers kind of bank on, is like hopefully the other person that you're battling makes a mistake, so you can either gain time or you're hoping the other driver loses time. But yeah, we see the pit stops happening now. You're just seeing the Christopher Hamilton coming in right now, but that's going to put Craig Jansen out front. And is he going to be able to use this lap to have a better pit stop than Christopher Hamilton?
Well, Chris Hamilton is going to lose a spot to Bryce Reiner as Reiner gets on by right there. The short pit for Reiner gets him in front of Hamilton. Now this is up to Jansen to try and have a banger of a lap here. I'm assuming he's probably going to come in on this lap or next to get it back out here and rejoin this battle. But Bryce Reiner holding the undercut here on Hamilton, and maybe Hamilton trying to kind of do the same thing with Jancic and make sure he gets into the pits before Jancic, so there wasn't any undercut on him. But already Reiner at least trumps over your previous leader, Chris Hamilton. Now we'll just see what happens here when the 88 of Jancic comes into the pits, where he feeds back out. We've seen Jancic have some really good pit stops this year. We'll see if it comes out once again.
Yeah, and obviously Rayner and Hamilton, if they're smart, they work together now. Right, just for now, until Jancic pits. Because obviously Jancic is in pretty clean air right now, with nobody around him. He's not battling Christopher Hamilton. He's not battling Rayner. So it's definitely a spot that Jancic is taking advantage of right now. And I think that's why you're seeing him stay out and trying to gain some much valuable clean air and track, over these other drivers that might be battling or have to go through some lap traffic. So maybe a good call by Jancic, keeping him out front for just that little bit longer. But we will see if that undercut pays off for Hamilton and Rayner, as Jancic will eventually have to come in for for at least a splash, and we'll see whether he takes tires or not.
Yeah, I mean, typically these drivers haven't been taking tires, but I mean, you're taking a look at the lap times from the last lap there, and Craig Jancic ran a 127.44. Bryce Rayner ran a 127.42. So it's not new tires that's doing it there for Bryce Rayner. At least I don't believe so. But you get those tires a little bit cooler, and they have a little better grip at least for a couple laps. So as clean air is working out for Jancic, those cooler tires are working out for Rayner and possibly for Hamilton as well. But another lap out here for Jancic. He's trying to utilize his clean air as much as possible. This time by running a 127.6, or a bit slower that time by. Maybe the tire's falling off a little bit. Maybe it's just a little bit rougher of a lap right there. But either way, he is sticking out there. He's trying to pull the overcut here on Hamilton and Rayner.
These drivers are so close. And as far as skill level, you can see the speed. So it's very similar as well. So we're not even driving the same car. It's just that close. But see Rayner getting around looks like a lap car of Ian.
Yeah, Ian Southern has yet to come into the pits, and class driver, and this is exactly what Craig Jancic needs. He needs his competitors here to have to battle with some, essentially lap traffic. They're working their way up through some of the AM class drivers that have yet to come into the pits, and Southern being one of them. And you see Rayner has got a nice little buffer right now over Hamilton. Hamilton now going to sit it to the inside here, trying to give plenty of room, and looks like he is going to make the pass on Southern, but you see a good amount of time lost right there. How much time did both of them lose when it comes to Craig Jancic? We'll see him hopefully come into the pits here in the next couple laps, but Devin Young, Colin Winslow have yet to come into the pits as well. Same with Nicholas Cote, Frank Pisano. That is your top five right now, but the 88 is in the pits. We're about to find out what the extra couple laps have done to help out or hurt the 88s, as we've seen a flurry come into the pits here. Devin Young, Colin Winslow, Nicholas Cote all in the pits as well. Let's see, Frank Pisano going to bring it in as well. Renan de Lima is your top running amateur. He is going to come into the pits. Doug Palmer going to stick it out, and Palmer's going to go from pits to first here in the AM class, as he is going to stay out there for another lap. And it looks like we're just down to a few cars. Dan Morera is currently your overall leader. He has yet to come into the pits. Doug Palmer should have to come into the pits as well. He started from the pits, but he should have to make his pit stop yet. Jim Herrick in third is yet to come in, and then William Burrell is going to make his pit stop this time as well. But Craig Jancic did indeed get out of the pits before Bryce Rayner. You see it just barely. But Rayner's got those nice, warm, heated up tires right now. If he's going to make a move, he's got to pounce right now. Hamilton is falling back here a little bit, about a second off of this pace. They got some lap traffic coming up. This is about to be where the race is going to be won or lost here. We got about 15 minutes left.
Yeah, and if you're in lap cars, you're looking at your relative and you're like, darn it, they're right behind me. Do I let them go? Do I keep going? As a little slow driver, I won't say he's super slow, but Jim out there doing a fantastic job. Obviously trying to maintain his position. Obviously, by no means needs to give it up, but sometimes to make things easier, if they're in the right position, you just kind of roll to the side a little bit, lift your foot about 10%, and let him drive on by, and then continue what you're doing. But he's got a nice little window there right now. I think he's going to be just going to the pits, so that's even better yet. So he's able to maintain the speed coming to pits, and those drivers are going to get by pretty easily. So 1, 2, 3, see them all on one camera view as of right now. That's Jancic, Rayner, and Hamilton.
And a little bit of a mistake by Jancic out of turn number 1, and Reiner into the lead. So seen some uncharacteristic mistakes here from the 88 here tonight. And that is twice now he's given up the lead. First to Hamilton, now this time to Reiner. Hamilton still right here in this battle as well. He's caught up with the little bit of a slow up there behind Jim Herrick before he came into the pits. But now the entire pit cycle has gone through. It is Reiner, Jancic, Hamilton, Winslow, and Young for your top 5. And then in the M class, Renan de Lima is once again your leader. Ortiz Torres, who came in very early, one of the first ones into the pits, is going to be in second place in the M class. Doug Palmer in third, Eli Singh, Jim Herrick for your top 5. But we certainly got our eyes trained right here on this battle that could very well go down to the wire. They got some more traffic coming up as well.
Yeah, obviously the leaders have been so close this season. A lot of good battling right down to the final wire. And looks like Paul Bailey having some issues in the back of the pack.
That was Paul Bailey, I believe, that they just passed right there. He just kind of slowed up to let them on by. But we've got a little bit of time left to go. I mean, take a look at the track map, and unless we have somebody else that's going to come into the pits, it may be good to go on lap traffic. It's a decent sized track here, and you see quite a distance in between our leaders and the next round of lap cars. And now Reiner, who kind of sat behind these guys for the first half of the race, now he's got the clean air, and maybe he has got the bit between his teeth here a little bit, trying to run away here. But as he's got some speed in that Porsche, and he's doing something right now that Chris Hamilton was not able to do at the beginning of the race, whether by design or not. He's actually able to put a little bit of a gap in between him and Jancic.
It's like the first time here tonight so far, and maybe Jancic kind of hoping to have that Porsche tires fall off just a little bit, as we know can't happen. But this Rayner doing a pretty good job right now, holding on to his position, hitting his marks, hopefully ignoring the rearview mirror. But it's hard when you got a great drivers behind you. But there's definitely good for all these drivers up here in the top 3 as they battle bumper to bumper. Because our next battle doesn't fall back until about 5 seconds back with Devon, Young, and
little bit of a mistake there in the final corner from Reiner, and he's going to have to drag race down into turn number 1 there as he drifted a little bit wide in that final corner. But it looks like he is going to hang on to first place. See if Jancic can get the crossover. Just not going to be able to get it done. Maybe a little rub in there heading out of turn number 1, as right on board here with Hamilton, just getting an eyeful of not just this battle, but some of the dirt and the grass and everything just flying up at his windshield here as well. Heck of a battle here. 3 cars under blanket here for the win.
That's another thing about following so close, though. Not only is the terrain blocking your view of your apexes when you're right up on somebody's bumper like that, to try to apply a little bit of pressure, you really need to be aware of your surroundings and where you're at on a track and where you're supposed to be, so you don't miss your mark, and then you're off in the dirt, and it could cost you that lead here. But Rayner doing a fantastic job as of right now, holding on to Craig Jancic and Christopher Hamilton. Colin Winslow and Devon Young back there for 4th and 5th, and then they're doing great as well. And I think our next battle, it looks like is back in with Frank Pisano and Doug Palmer back there in 13th.
You see, it looks like that Acura is just getting a little bit better rotation, at least into the corner, as we're riding on the back bumper here of Bryce Reiner. But we'll take a look back here and see we got the battle back just outside the top 10 here. Christian Ortiz Torres right now 2nd place in the M class, and right behind him he's got a battle again, not for position right behind him with Frank Pisano, but certainly these drivers want every position that they can get regardless. And then right behind him is Doug Palmer, already up into the podium spots here in the M class, but looking to try and get a little bit more, seeing if he can get all the way up here in maybe sniff a top 10 before this thing is over. We're getting close to the end here, 10 minutes plus a lap here. So it's certainly starting to tick down here at Donington Park. But a really good run here from the 12 here, Doug Palmer. Certainly better than last week. Qualified very well last week as well, but just nothing seemed to go right for him in the beginning, and ended up, not sure if he completed a lap or two there at last week. But it looks like a little bit of battle going on in front of him here, as well as Ortiz Torres right behind Nicholas Cote and Renan de Lima doing a little bit of battling. Or, I'm sorry, Nicholas Cote and Dan Herrera doing some battling, but this is this is what can happen here at Donington. You can have a bit of a train here, but it looks like Doug Palmer going to send it down to the inside here of Frank Pisano, and that moves himself into 13th overall and try and catch up to Ortiz Torres for second in the M class.
Yeah, definitely making moves forward here. So he was up to 13th, so yeah, Palmer's in 13th.
Back up here at the front, and if you could say it's settled down, this is probably about the calmest it's been at the front here. A small little, about a half a second gap in between Reiner and Jancic at the front, and then another a half a second to 3/4 of a second from Jancic back to Hamilton. So this is the most these drivers have been able to breathe probably this entire time here, and maybe can finally take at least one eye off the rearview mirror here and try and drive and keep that thing straight and as fast as can be. But we'll take a look back here at the battle once again from Dan Herrera on back. This is again Dan Herrera in 11th, get 12th, 13th, to 14th right behind him, but 13th and 14th, or 12th and 13th are battling for position. That is Ortiz Torres and Doug Palmer battling for second and third spots here on the podium, up for grabs in the M class.
Yeah, it's good to see that both classes having great battles at the top of their class, you know, for the podiums and whatnot. And like I said, sometimes they'll get a non-AM class driver that might be struggling with the track or had a bad start, whatever it may be, that's coming up to the field, and like overall the battle is not with them. And as of right now, I don't know. We talked to Craig just a little bit, but we see the speed on the 12. For 2 weeks now. And we know that he's going places, and obviously he's made his way halfway up through the field here tonight. All the way, he's up now only down 10 spots from where he should have started. So that is quite a feat to come from all the way in the back, all the way currently up to P13. So I was guessing hopefully in the top 10, right around that 7-8 mark, but might fall a little bit shy as these other drivers have just been not having hardly any issues at all tonight, Carl.
Back up to the front here as we're down to the last 7 minutes of this race. Reiner still holds on to the lead, but it's like Jancic getting a bit of a second win here. Maybe at this point it's about a 16th win for Jancic trying to get back to this lead, but he has reeled it back. Was within a half a second, now stretches it back out here once again. That does Reiner as they head down into Melbourne one more time. Hamilton falling off the pace here just a little bit, maybe waiting to try and mount one more charge here before this thing is over, but time is starting to tick down here. Again, Jancic tries to close in these last couple hairpins, but Reiner, for now, not putting a foot wrong and keeping that Porsche out front.
Yeah, only a few more minutes and battling and positions changing hands, trying to maybe be a little more confident in a few more of those corners as we're watching Dan Herrera right now at that McLaren as he battles the 17. So, but the 17's gonna get stuck out wide. Levin sticks his nose to the inside of that final stretch as the 12 Doug Palmer is trying to take advantage of these drivers battling as well to make his way around.
Yeah, so Dan Herrera right there in the McLaren battling. So we got a little rubbing right there with Doug Palmer as he tries to get around Ortiz Torres, but it's late in the race here. Typically, Ortiz Torres is one of the cleanest drivers out there, but it's a little bit late now. He's not just going to roll over, but unfortunately, Palmer's got the inside line through the kink right there, and he is going to make the pass, move into 12th overall and second in the M class here as Ortiz Torres was just kind of stuck in a rough spot right there because he was watching Herrera and Cote battle in front of him. and he had a chance to get in front of Cote there, but maybe he didn't want to stick his nose in there and get in the middle of their battle. But unfortunately, it led to him losing the battle, at least for the time being, with Palmer, as he's going to be chasing now, and he's got Frank Pisano right behind him. But coming up to the final laps here, 5 minutes left in this race. Should be about maybe 3 laps left here before this thing is over. And for the M class, Renan de Lima really not too far in front of these guys here, but he leads this pack. And still an outside chance for Doug Palmer if he can put in some flyers, if he can get around Nicholas Cote and Dan Rare to have a shot at Renan de Lima before this thing is over. But right now, Brazilian leads the M class.
They're doing a fantastic job here tonight, so good to see that having a good run here. And that number 82 finding themselves in a fantastic spot, like you said, trying to get up here and just have a great run. So there's a lot of pretty heavy Porsche friendly tonight. Porsche, a bunch of McLarens, 1 Ford, 1 Lambo, your typical 1 Chevy, Lozano. I want to say Lozano, but it's not. It's Lazo. And then to your Acura, which seems to be the iRacing flavor of the month when it comes to road cars.
Look back at Lozano as he just gets passed right there by William Burrell. And maybe Lozano had some issues there, blinking out there a little bit, as he's back here at 10th place in the M class, 22nd overall. Burrell just making the pass there on him to move himself into 9th. Look back at our lead here. It is once again under a half a second. A rough turn number 1 there as we just joined these two here. Reiner not getting through turn number 1 too well, and that allows Janczyk to close in one more time. You see Hamilton still back there, still hanging in. One mistake by these guys will be right back on their bumpers, but he's fallen off the pace here a little bit. They've got a lap car in front of them right now. What can they do to make this pass quickly? It looks like, there we go. Looks like that is, Wilson going to move over to the side and let them do battle. So great job right there by Ian Wilson to just let them get to the end here and get their battle underway, as should still be 2 laps to go here at the line. It's going to be close, but I believe we shouldn't see the white flag this time. It should be next time. But it is still Bryce Reiner now out to a 3/4 of a second lead. Another 1.5 seconds back to Chris Hamilton. Another 4.5 back to Colin Winslow, who really hasn't played too much of a part here tonight at Donington, so maybe not a track that he fancies too much. And the same thing with Devin Young, still back there and really not too far behind Colin Winslow, as they still have a battle going on as they catch up to Ian Wilson right now to complete another lap here. So top 5 definitely not decided yet in the pro class and overall.
No, I mean, as long as a couple minutes left, anything can happen here. So you got lights flashing, saying, hey, we're coming by. If you could please go out of the way, thank you. These two here are battle. But yeah, anything can happen. One wrong tire off the track and around you go. So we're at 43 minutes and 22 seconds completed. So yeah, down to that, obviously this lap here will take them almost to that 45-minute mark. So they'll have this lap and they should have 1 more.
Yeah, so there should be 2 laps to go here. We'll get the white flag this time by. And once again, Janczyk starting to close in on Reiner, gets it back to a half a second. Heading into the back half of this lap, they get another lap car that is coming up here. Jay Little not too far up in front of them, and they may catch him on this last lap. You see him right there in front. And I mean, he's probably going to be pushing that pedal down a little bit harder just to stay out of their way. But they are coming with a fury here, and it should be seeing the white flag this time by down in the hairpin, as it looks like I didn't see it happen here, but certainly an issue there for Janczyk. He has fallen back off of here, so much so that he is now getting close to the clutches of Chris Hamilton. So this is definitely some breathing room for Reiner coming in, and you see Barney on the left-hand side there, white flag in the air. 1 more lap around Donington Park, and you see Reiner doing everything he can, letting the lap car of Little know, I'm coming. Please do not ruin this for me. Please get out of the way as safe and as quickly as possible. I got reservations for the top step of the podium, but it's not easy. I mean, this track, especially right through the middle section here, there's not really a place to pull off the side. There's not really a good long straightaway, so hopefully Reiner can navigate the lap car here quickly. He's got a nice little buffer now, 1.7 seconds ahead of Jansic.
Just coming through these final corners, heading up towards Copus corner here, that double right-hand turn. So you see the lap car kind of taking their line and trying not to slow them down too much. Going to go in early, let the leader go by. That's going to put the lap car, between him and second place. But right now, it looks like Chris and Craig have just fallen off the pace here just a little bit. Or even Chris doesn't have enough juice to catch up to Jansic for maybe a little slip up, which I think maybe just Jansic just driving the tires off the car, to be honest, Carl. But final last corner coming up for Bryce.
Yeah, and it is going to be Bryce Reiner unless he makes a mistake in the final corner, which he's not going to. Bryce Reiner, your winner here tonight at Donington Park. And man, it feels like it's been forever since we got to talk to Bryce on the podium, let alone on the top step. And you see the guys right behind him, Jansic and Hamilton, probably happy this thing is over as well. They can finally let the heart rate calm down here a little bit. It's been a close battle here once again for the top steps here in the pro class and overall, but we still got a battle here at the end. All kinds of cars all over the place. Brennan De Lima is going to come home. You see him right there in front of this. He is going to be your winner in the AM class, but a battle right behind him. And it's going to go to Dan Herrera to come home there in 9th. Nicholas Conan in 10th. Doug Palmer just going to hold off Christian Ortiz Torres there as they come home 2nd and 3rd in the AM class. We'll take a look here. Looks like Eli Singh is going to hold off Jim Herrick for the top 5 here in the AM class. But man, Donington Park, I think it needs to be on the schedule a little bit more. This was a fun one to come to.
Yeah, a lot of action. Like I said, you see them turning down on the kitty litter right now, so I just had a good time flinging dirt all over the place now. But yeah, good run by the drivers out here tonight and having some fun. I think, like I said, it was a little more technical and obviously a little more familiarity. If you're a quick learner, you can do very well here. And some of these drivers obviously maybe had a little bit more time, definitely more time than I've had on this track. Probably even the people in the back have had more time on this track than I have. But definitely a good one here to watch. It was good to see the drivers out here and continue to come out each and every week, put out a great show. Thank all the fans out there, along with all the sponsors. But just shout outs to Barry, Jerry Bowman, Kelly Pointer, Mark Gonzalez, Jeff, for saying something there in the chat. And if you're out there watching, don't forget to hit that thumbs up again. It just helps with the algorithm for these drivers, and see everything that come up on more people's feeds, so everybody gets a chance to view what great driving here is at on CRN with CSRL and all the other leagues.
While we're waiting for these drivers to finish up their celebration and get into the waiting room for their interviews, we'll go ahead and give a rundown of the sponsor reads. 40 Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 sim racing shoes, custom engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, while still providing the comfort needed for those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com to check out the latest sim racing products, including the original racing gloves for your feet. At SimCraft, they create the most advanced customizable simulators for drivers and enthusiasts alike. Whether you're a professional racer looking for precision training or a home user seeking immersive experience, SimCraft delivers unparalleled performance. SimCraft is trusted by real-world professionals with over 74 client championships, including 18 in 2024. Their advanced simulators provide unmatched precision and performance, empowering drivers to excel at every level. Join the ranks of champions who rely on SimCraft to elevate their training and development. For Martin PC, they're focused on providing high-quality PCs, rigs, and components at an affordable price. Your investment in sim racing is exactly the same as racing with an actual car. They take that same methodology at Martin, from the engine, PC, to the chassis, rig, pedals, wheels, and shifter. You deserve components that match your desire to compete. Well, it looks like we got our drivers in here ready to go for their interviews, and man, it's maybe we'll give the pro guys a little chance to breathe here a little bit. I mean, not that the M-Class drivers did any better there at the end, as it was a heck of a battle, but we'll start with the M-Class drivers here tonight, and first bring in our third place finisher here tonight, and that is going to be driver of the 11, and it's going to be Christian Ortiz Torres. Christian, heck of a race for me here, and it's a track that you guys don't really come to that often. Probably, you know, in officials, in leagues, anything like that. Donington Park is definitely a unique one out here, and you guys had to tame it here tonight, and I think you guys did a heck of a job, but you had one heck of a battle coming to the end of that race.
Yeah, definitely a tough track, and very tight on trying to do side-by-side racing on this one. When you're on the outside or sometimes in the inside, one of the cars is on a dangerous position and gets tight. It gave me go-karting vibes.
Yeah, I can certainly see that. I mean, to me, I think the only track I can maybe compare this to, it gives me a little bit of a VIR vibe, of Virginia International Raceway vibe. Do you guys feel that way, the same way?
Yeah, definitely.
So, I mean, these hairpins here, it seemed like those were obviously the biggest opportunities to make a pass, but I mean, they're so tight. I mean, when you're on the inside of those hairpins, it seems like you're full lock to the right, and then you get to the last one, you're full lock to the left. I mean, was that the probably the most difficult spot of this track here tonight?
Yeah, and definitely trying to get a good entrance to that through the S's, that chicane, turn 9, that. Trying to be faster than the guy that went in first and see if you can win the battle on that hairpin.
We'll take a look at one more spot here on camera while we're talking to you, as we see Dan Moreira coming out of the pits. I mean, the pit exit right there shoots you right into kind of a danger zone into turn number 1 right there. You know, how much was that a problem here watching these cars come out of the pits?
Definitely just trying to account for that, because now you have a different racing line if you got that guy on the outside, and when you got speed you want to use the outside, but if there's somebody coming in and they're staying on the outside, then now you got a different thing to do.
Well, it looks like Doug Palmer is actually going to end up getting moved up to the pro class. So technically tonight going to be a second place here for you tonight. So congrats on the second place, even though you're battling like it was for first for sure at the end. So I want to send you congratulations and give you some time to give any shout outs or thanks you may have.
Yeah, thank you guys. CFG, my family in Denver, and my lady.
All right, buddy. Well, congrats on another good finish here tonight. Certainly going to help you out in the points, and we'll see you next week, see if you can get another podium.
All right, see you guys.
Yep.
That is the 11 of Christian Ortiz Torres. Third, second, either way, he's on the podium. Either way, a good run here for him for tonight. Your winner here tonight in the M class is going to be the 82 of Ren de Lima.
Hey, Ren, it's Jimmy and Carlton, booth. You copy?
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, not too bad. Hey, you did a fantastic job out there here tonight. Finishing in P9 overall. Obviously, the winner for the AM class here, getting that 82 Old Spice Porsche machine up front here. Pretty unique track out there. Can you give you a little time, kind of run down how your experience was here, and what was your key goals to give you the win here tonight?
I think a big benefit was during the on the officials, they ran the Ferrari challenge here quite a bit, and I just, for like 2-3 days straight, I was just, pounding in here in the Ferrari. So I think that helped me out a lot. And I don't know, everything felt right tonight, when things just feel good and just connect overall.
Yeah, definitely know the feeling of you want things to go right, that have the perfect lap. I don't know how many times you go out there and you run some good laps, and that optimal sometimes is just out of reach. But you know it's out there because you've hit the perfect corner, somewhere along the line. But definitely a great run out here. And you walk away tonight here, the winner. I'm sure that will help with the points throughout the season. But it's good to talk to you a little bit up here, and we want to say congratulations and also give you some time for any shouts you might have.
No, for sure. You guys do a wonderful job week in and week out. Thanks to all the sponsors this season. Thanks to my wife, obviously, that lets me do this. While she's putting my son to bed. So she's the winner here. But thanks to a couple of friends of mine. My best friend Pat watches week in and week out. I'm sure he's watching right now and listening. Steve, always rooting for me. D82 Racing is what he calls it. But in the end, it's Team Shake and Bake. And me and Frank put down a couple of good laps together today, which is pretty cool. But overall, I really appreciate everything you guys do.
I really appreciate the shouts, and again, congratulations, man. And hopefully we'll get another chance to talk to you on another track coming up here in the next few weeks here. But like I said, again, congratulations, and we'll talk to you next week, hopefully.
Thanks, guys.
And it's worth noting. I mean, Cal Naughton outran the sister car here. I mean, the amateur outran the pro. I mean, you got to have a little talk with Frank, I think, here on this one. I mean, you have to change your paint schemes up here if you're going to be running faster than him.
Oh, sometimes there's a little bit of fall off. If you remember, there's a little bit of fall off, and then he recovers. So I'll have a little talking to with Frank.
We might be having a little talking to you.
All right, buddy. Well, congrats on the win here. We'll let you go celebrate.
Thanks, guys.
That is your winner here in the M class, the 82 of Renan de Lima. Switching over now to the pro class. Hopefully they got a chance to finally catch their breath here a little bit, and we'll start it off with the 20 of Chris Hamilton. Chris, a third place here tonight. You had a glimpse maybe there of second place. You had plenty of time out front. And it looked like it was kind of pit stops again, and it looked like Bryce Reiner just barely got you on the short pit, getting you as you came out of the pits, and then maybe you guys got held up a little bit by some not necessarily lap traffic, but guys that haven't come into the pits yet, and that possibly gave Jancic the chance to get ahead of you guys. But what a race once again between you, Jancic, and Reiner all the way to the end of this thing.
I'm not really mad about P3. It sucks that I'm behind Craig going into I think I'm going to be missing next week if there is a race next week. If there isn't, I will not be here. But overall, it was a good, hard, clean racing. I don't know if Craig's pass on me got caught on the broadcast, but he caught me sleeping. I'll be straight up with you. It was good. It was a good pass. But overall, it was good, fun, clean racing. I should have taken tires because my tires were gone by the end, and I'm starting to see that the Porsche is very good at the beginning, but towards the end, I'm kind of struggling to hang on. I don't know how many corners I blew because I didn't have the tires underneath me.
Yeah, that's kind of what we were talking about. Even 15 minutes into the race, we couldn't tell if it was you up front trying to save tires and kind of back down the pace a little bit and keep Craig behind you while trying to kind of save those tires, because it's been a bit of a running theme with the Porsche this year that the tires just kind of, it's fast and real good and nimble in the beginning, but then those tires wear out pretty quickly.
I think this was really the first one that I felt like I burned the tires off. I really should have taken tires, and I definitely thought about it, but truth be told, I don't know if it would have changed much. I think I should have stayed out a little longer than what I did, because I just kind of panicked went into the pits. It's like, okay, Craig caught me sleeping. Let me go into the pits, short pit. Let's get out of here, because it's kind of hard to get back up to speed.
Well, you did do one thing. You didn't crash, so you listened to your dashboard there, and you kept this thing in one piece. And either way, it's still a good points race for you tonight. You come into the race here tonight with the points lead over Craig just minimally, so it could be just about even, or maybe you still have a slight lead heading in the next week. You say you're not going to be there for Mount Panorama, but I mean, this thing is still not over. You guys got a couple races left. We got Mount Panorama and then Hockenheim Ring the week after. So with your drop race next week, you may not be necessarily out of it just yet. I mean, what do you feel about, I guess, Hockenheim in 2 weeks?
I don't like it.
Right,
straight up, I don't like it. So we're going to have to figure out something, because I don't know if the team race actually counts for anything, if the solo driver points are setup after that. Is that
if it's
the finale? I think.
If it's anything like last season, the solo points will end at Hockenheim, and then the Spa will just be the team race. Yep.
All right. Well, I better figure something out because I'm not the biggest fan of Hockenheim. It's caught me out multiple times, and but yeah, we'll put our best foot forward. That's one thing that I will always do is put my best foot forward and give it a shot, whether win, lose, or draw. Maybe little boops here and there. We'll see how it goes down.
Well, best case scenario or not, you have 2 weeks to prepare for it if you're not going to be here for next week. So either way, congrats on another podium here tonight, another great run, and certainly not a bad day in the points. Even though you're behind Craig, you didn't. You minimize the damage as you do so well. So we'll see what happens in a couple weeks when you see you again. But before we let you go here tonight, who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Huge shout out to Park Steeler Cruise for the fun iRacing paint scheme. I'm trying to poke the bear for safety car M2. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, Parks, if you're listening. Yeah, he does a great job on these things. A huge shout out to Craig and Bryce up at the front. It was hard, but it was clean, and there was no 4X car contacts. There were car contacts, but nothing egregious. Those guys drive amazingly. Huge shout out to the guys here at CSRL. They welcomed me with open arms, and I took them 3 wide, and they said, "Yeah, you're still good. We'll keep you around." And yeah, thanks you guys for the broadcast, as always.
All right, buddy. Well, congrats again on the podium. We'll let you celebrate this one for a little bit, and we'll see you in a couple weeks at Hockenheim.
All right, here's to it, boys.
That is your third place finisher here tonight, the 20 of Chris Hamilton. Second place tonight, Jimmy, is going to be the 88 of Craig Jancic.
Hey, Craig, Jimmy and Carl up in the booth. You copy?
Oh, yeah, I got you, boys. What's up?
He said, oh, yeah. Well, you start on the pole, and you start off fantastic, and then you make one simple mistake and end up following Christopher Hamilton around the track for quite a few laps, and then obviously they decided to pit and you decided to stay out. I kind of wanted to ask you, what was your mindset when they went in and you were able to kind of stay out on that clean track?
Yeah, I mean, what a brawl. Qualifying was a brawl. I think there's probably 8 of us that led qualifying at a various point here tonight. There was 3 of us that led the race. I made that mistake to let Chris by. I'm glad I didn't spin because that was hard enough. And then I threw the entire kitchen sink at him trying to pass him, and none of it worked. He defended masterfully. Kudos to him. And it just fried the tires trying everything that I could before the pit stop. It was starting to really feel it when we had the light fuel load. I was able to send it up the chicane, make that work, and I knew that if he would have been smart to pit right there like he did, and then I just wanted to keep a clean track so that I could try to just hit a few perfect laps to take as much gap up while he was pitting, and it worked. Then I made another little error and got.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about your second error. It seemed to be the nail in the coffin as Bryce did his magic, and you stuck with him for quite some time. But you talked about throwing a kitchen sink at Chris Hamilton. It seemed like you were throwing the rest of the house at Bryce trying to get around, and at the end, I don't know if you were just cutting it close on fuel or your tires just went on you as you went from a half a second back to over a second behind Bryce.
Yeah, so 2 things happened. I was within 2/10 of Bryce, and then to no fault of the lap cars, but there was a lap car, and it just took my focus trying to make sure that I was going to clear him, and I missed the braking point. In the I apologize, I have no numbers, but there's that distinct uphill braking zone. I just missed it by a little bit.
Capri or whatever it's called. Caprice, something like that.
I cooked that a little bit, and that cost me about a half a second. Then I couldn't really seem to close that down for 2 or 3 laps. And then on the second to last lap, entering the little kink chicane thingy, I had a massive moment rear with no grip. Probably the combination of, again, a low fuel load near the end of the run, and just absolutely shredded all 4 tires. So, yeah, I just made sure I collected it, and I still had about half a second to Chris when I collected it. So at that point, Bryce was well gone, and huge kudos to him, man. I'd like to not toot my own horn and saying that I'm the reason that he's in this league, but he's a local friend, and I can't be happier to see him get his first pro class win. It's just it's really, really cool to help watch your friends grow too, and I think that is just the first of many for him in this league.
Yeah, if he keeps driving like that, putting you in your place and taking advantage of your mistakes and not make any or very little of his own, you'll be chasing him a lot more than you probably want to. So,
You're damn right.
But it's good, like you said, it's good to see. But either way, you walk away tonight with a second place finish at a very difficult track, very technical. Blind corners, chicanes all over the place, tire wear, fuel conserving, pain in the butt track that it can be. You just did an awesome job. Great battles between the 3 is up front, and obviously it's by the rest of the field as well. But just want to say congratulations and give you a little bit of time for any shouts you might have in at number 88.
Yeah, huge thanks to you guys at Core Racing Network. It's a great community. It's a great broadcast. It's a great group of broadcasters. Carl, Jimmy, thank you. Thanks to everybody that supports me, Team Conti Sim Performance, Freeburn Hot Wings Morning Show, Digital Sim Sports, Studio 3. Really thankful to everybody there. Again, huge kudos to Bryce. Huge kudos to Renan as well for getting the AM class win. That's awesome for him. I'm happy for him too. And my sports system, Mom, Dad, Aunt Sandy, Anna, thank you for all the watching and supporting you guys do for me. It's just it's a really good thing here at CSRL on CRN, and I hope that we show that every single week. I for sure think that we do, and we'll go down under next week. What do you say, boys?
Yeah, definitely looking forward to the weeks to come. Again, congratulations on that second place finish. We'll let you go celebrate with those friends and family.
Cheers. Thank you.
That is your second place finisher here tonight, the 88 of Greg Jancic. Last but not least is going to be your winner here tonight, and that is the 24 of Bryce Reiner. Bryce, I guess first question is, are you lost? Do you realize what you just did here tonight?
You're telling me, Carl.
I feel like it's been, let's just say quite a bit of time since we got to talk to you on the podium, let alone on the top step here. And I'm not sure if this is even your first pro class win here tonight, but I mean, it's been quite some time. So welcome back to the podium, let alone the top step here tonight.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, guys. It was definitely a blast, and it's been a pretty much full 2 seasons with up and downs and wrecks or getting involved in wrecks or me just doing stupid mistakes. And I finally gathered it back up these last couple of races. I think the last 3 I did a pretty solid job. So I was due for a win, that's for sure, or I should say due for a nice top 5. Never thought I could battle with those 2 up there, but I kept my composure and I nailed it.
So what was it about the track here tonight? Donington Park, not one that gets used too often, but it seemed like you 3 up front certainly had this thing down pat. I mean, you get ahead of everybody, even Colin Winslow. Obviously, not a slacker by any means, and you guys were 4 seconds ahead of him, and it didn't seem like it was too long before you broke away as a 3-car tandem.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about this track. I think it's just a high speed, intense back and forth S's and just making sure you hit your marks, because if you get on the dirt a couple times like I did or slip up, you're probably going to have a guy behind you. So it was all in just making sure you keep your composure down to a low so you don't overreact to anything, and qualifying was important, because if I didn't qualify P5 and moved up to P3 since Doug didn't grid, I didn't think I had a shot tonight. So it was definitely all due to qualifying for sure.
So what was more fun in the race, sitting back there in third for the first half of the race and watching them do the battling, or was it more fun watching that 88 in their mirrors constantly in the second half of that race?
I'd probably say a little bit of both. To be honest, I like being the chaser. Always have, especially in oval racing. I am super well talented with the oval side of things. So saving tires is one thing for oval, but on road, it's just minimize your mistakes and hopefully the guys in front make a mistake. But sitting behind those two guys for pretty much the whole time until I pitted, it's tough because there is no passing zone. I don't know if Craig or Chris, brought this up in their interviews, but there's hardly a passing zone. I mean, if someone makes a mistake, you can go for it down the S's or something, or in turn one. But other than that, you can't really get a good run or a passing opportunity done. So it's all had to be done in the pits, which successfully I managed to do very well tonight and make sure I early pit and hope for the best once they all pitted.
Yeah, the short pit literally just got you out in front of Chris Hamilton as Hamilton was coming out of the pits. You were just getting on by him in turn one. So, I mean, were you kind of looking at on your relative when you were coming down that front stretch and watching when that 20 was coming out of the pits to make sure you dove down on that inside? Because the pit exit here is kind of funky. I mean, it shoots you right out into basically the racing line into turn number one.
Yeah, no, for sure. I was definitely looking at the relative, especially when I heard Colin call out his pit. At that point, I was like, okay, it depends on where I am at the track. I should be relatively close to him when he comes out. Luckily, I saw him, and then I just dove to the inside because at that point, I wasn't going to let up for him to make that corner. I was just going to go in there and pass him because I didn't know if he took tires or not. So with me having a lap and a half, fresher front tires, to make the corners better, I was able to pull away just a little bit, and then same thing with Craig. He made a small mistake, or maybe not a mistake, just cold tires weren't his strong suit right then and there, and my tires were pretty warm already, so I took advantage of that too, and then just tried to stay in front of that 88 because damn, it is hard. I can tell you that. Making sure you don't make any mistakes, that's difficult.
Well, you made it look about as easy as you could here tonight, and you get the win. And I mean, it was, like I said, it was long overdue, and it's been some time since you had a good enough finish to even come up here and talk to us. But it's I guess it's good if you're going to come talk to us. Let's make it for the top step and make it worthwhile. So, congrats on the win here tonight. Who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Yeah, thank you, you guys up in the booth for covering every Wednesdays. It's a blast to watch these back. Depending on if you do well or not, it's always fun
whether
to
you want to or not.
Yeah, exactly, right? It gives you something to do for like, I don't know, 45 minutes. But no, hats off to Craig and Chris. I know what they were fighting for, and that is what I was trying to keep in my head behind them, because I didn't want to mess up what they had going, especially with the points being so close. But when opportunities prevail, I've got to take them. So, but hats off to them. They ran a great race, and hardly any contact between us. It was all clean passing back and forth, and thanks to Martin PC and then the scheme that Craig put on the car for this week. And shout out to you guys up in the booth and all the admins for this league. It's been a great season so far, and so let's go end on a high note.
Yeah, you got 2 more races left in the season next week at Mount Panorama, and then the final single individual points finale at Hockenheim. So what do you think of the last 2 tracks coming up here?
I'm not a big fan of the next one. I haven't really raced that at all, but it's definitely going to be some practice. And then Hockenheim. I don't know if you remember, but 2 seasons ago in the AM, it was in the wet, and I destroyed my car on the last 4 turns. So hoping I can redeem myself in that track and get a good result finally. And then, those 2 are going to be difficult, but fun for sure.
All right, buddy. Well, congrats again on the win here tonight. We'll let you go celebrate, and hopefully we get to talk to you again a little bit sooner next time.
Yeah, let's hope so. Thank you, guys.
That's your winner here tonight, the 24 of Bryce Reiner. Want to thank once again the sponsors here for the series of CSRL, Simcraft, 40 Racewear, and Modern PC. And thank everybody that tuned in here tonight. If you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe and get you in touch with everything that Sirian has to offer. But this was a fun one here. Once again, 6th round is complete. We only got 2 more rounds for the individual championship to be decided next week. As Craig very eloquently put it, we go down under to Australia for Mount Panorama, with the track that I just, no better way of describing it than Jekyll and Hyde. It is got half a track that is very, I don't want to say simple, but very well, you see what you get. And then a cattle chute for the other half of the track and up through the mountain. So going to be very, very difficult for the drivers. We'll see who comes out on top. But you're going to have to tune in next week for that one. For this week, we are done. And we'll see you next week down under. For myself and Jimmy here from the Donington Park. We'll see you at the track.
Peace.